I am back with some game tips. Today we are investigating 3D copyright-free assets that you can use to help expedite your game development process without access to a 3D designer and without using AI slop. Thanks again for shouting out this guy in the comments. I'm with you, man. Today in game development, it's very important that we need to source our game assets ethically. So I wanted to show you a cool resource. Again, I've alluded to this website before, but which has a plethora of copyright-free assets available at your disposal, so you can start building out your own worlds. So let's hop over to the website called kenney.nl. You've maybe heard me talk about this before in one of my previous videos, and now is the time to investigate the assets here. So if you missed it, we did a starter kit 3D platformer, and we did a quick demo on how to make your only up style. In a future video, maybe we'll go over the first person starter kit, but feel free to go ahead and take a look at that yourself for now. Today, I wanted to investigate some of the assets. So kenney.nl has a lot of different assets available here, and you can see that they're parameterized by 2D or 3D assets. I've been getting into some 3D game development here. My secret unannounced project is a 3D deck building RTS Hearthstone plus Clash Royale type experience. That's the first maybe you've heard about it. So stick around, hit that subscribe button if you want to follow the development of that. I will be announcing that officially soon. But that being said, coming over here to the 3D assets, we can see we've got a ton of awesome assets, and the assets that I'm mainly using in my game is the nature kit here. So if you do want to follow along with this tutorial, we're going to be downloading the nature kit models, so go ahead and download the nature kit, and then let's hop over to Godot and we'll go through some practical examples, how to add collision to these meshes, how to use them in your own project, and how to start building out your own world. And we'll also do a little bit of a bonus advanced feature here. We're going to add navigation meshes and navigation agents, and I'll teach you a quick demo on how to source out any collisions along the way, and we'll get a couple of our characters running towards each other here. You can see we got our two little friendly dragon babies here that we are going to code to actually attack each other. So that's where we're going with this. So step one is download the kenney.nl nature kit and hop into a 3D Godot project, and we'll pick up there. See that if I compare to this here, we've got, I've clearly got some of the trees. You can see here the logs. I got the logs here, and you won't see the dragon character. So this is actually from an asset pack I purchased off the Unity store and converted those models and textures and animations over to Godot. If you are wondering how to do that to avoid the Unity licensing fees, I also have a video on that. It'll also be linked in the description. So if you're wondering where I got these characters from, they are purchased from the Unity store. But we'll be focusing on environment building today mainly, and just a little bit bonus at the end. We'll maybe show a quick demo of these guys navigating and attacking each other. So each of these models here, you can see here I've got tree detailed. This is one scene. And this scene has a 3 nodes here. It has a mesh, a static body, and a collision shape. But these two are actually generated for you automatically. So, and I've created this scene already, but to go through the motions, let's go ahead and choose a new type of tree that we want to add to our scene. Okay, so if I want to add a scene here, I would just come to this forest node. So we can see here that everything that is affecting the navigation I have here under the navigation region 3D node. So I've got my paths. Obviously, that's the paths that the monsters are standing on top of. I got the forest, so that's all the trees and whatnot. And then I've got the world, so stuff like, the stones, the logs. These are still collision objects that our pathing may need to path around. For example, here, these stumps. We need to add collision objects to these so that the navigation doesn't try to navigate over these when the character body is too big in order to navigate through these logs. Okay, so I'm blabbing here. Let's get into a solid example. So let's say I want to add a new type of tree. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to go scene, new scene, and let's navigate here, I'm assuming you have already I downloaded the nature model. So I've got this in a folder here called models, environment. I've got tons of different models. I got my monster models, I got my environment models, and I did a little bit of testing. So over here, I've downloaded a whole bunch of kenney.nl assets. And again, these are copyright free. This is Creative Commons. You don't even have to attribute your work to Kenney, and there's no licensing fees and stuff. So they have made their assets completely free for people like us who need a little bit of help with their game development. So I'm going to come over here to nature models and open up the OBJ format. So these are a whole bunch of meshes that I can use, and I'll maybe go ahead and find one that we want to use. Perhaps it'll be like a tree or a rock or something. I think for the first example, we'll go ahead and make a tree. Okay, so I want to make a new 3D scene and change this type to a mesh instance. Now, this is going to be a lot easier now. If I come down over here, let me move my face. If I come over here to mesh and do a load, and now I'll navigate to that same folder, so models, environment, nature models, OBJ format, and now I can see a preview of which model that I'm actually importing, unlike here from the File Explorer panel. So now I can kind of get a good sense of, okay, so what kind of tree do I want to add to my forest? I have an oak tree scene already. I have a skinny tree, and I have a detailed tree. So I think the one I haven't added here is a dark fat tree. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that, and now our mesh here is set. So a super cool way to automatically set a very tight collision is to do this automatically. So I'm just going to come down here and go mesh and go create collision shape. You want to set this to static body child, not sibling, and use the tri-mesh. So there is maybe a little bit of performance cost to this, because we see here now that we've got a collision object already set up for us. So like I said before, we've got 3 nodes, but these 2 are generated automatically for us. We got a static body 3D and a collision shape 3D automatically made for us. So let's go ahead and call this tree fat dark. Maybe you can hear my cat in the background. Hi, Gracie. Hello. Hi, Gracie. Say hello to the video. Hello. Okay, so now we've got the scene created, and we have added collision to it. Let's go ahead and save this. I want to make sure I save this in the correct folder. So let's go to environment, and we'll call this tree fat dark. Okay, perfect. So now I can hop back over to my level. So I'm building out a forest level here, and we can see here that we've got, we've got that skinny tree, we've got that detailed kind of blocky tree, and we have this big oak tree. Add that to where we want it, and you kind of, this level design is kind of just gonna go with the vibes. You may end up adding a whole bunch of stuff and deleting a whole bunch of stuff, and we've built out this section of the map like pretty good. That's pretty lively. Seems like there's a lot going on, but I just started adding in some pathways up here without really fleshing out the surrounding scene. So I think I want a tree probably here in this corner. So I'm gonna come to forest and go instantiate child scene. And now I'll search for my scene. So I want to import a tree fat dark scene. And we can see here that the scene is coming through pretty small compared to my other trees here, obviously. And it's also like sort of in the mesh, inside of the ground mesh. So the trick for that is here, snap object to floor, and boom, it pops right up to wherever the floor has the collision set. And then we're going to want to go ahead and, just obviously make some basic transformations to this tree to make it sort of fit with the rest of our level here. The same way that we added the tree object, now I want to show you how to add a path object. And so we've got this branching path here. And so this is kind of like the different pathways. So the player is going to start here. This is where they're going to be able to spawn their characters in. These guys are just in here for testing right now, for testing purposes. But the idea here is that I want to build out this level, and then in this middle area here, there's going to be like sort of a large open-ended battleground. So I want to come to paths and instantiate a child scene and import the dirt floor blank scene. And now I want to just go ahead and make this up to the values that I want. So let me go ahead and break the scaling on this guy. Yeah, I want to make it a little bit wider. That wide is good. And you can see sometimes when you're playing with the object, it goes down beneath the floor again. So you just got to go to snap object to floor again to make sure that that comes back to the same height as your other platforms. And remember, this is again just a class. Here, let me move over. Here, the main idea here, this one seems to be a node 3D, but the main idea here is that we got, again, a mesh instance, a static body, and a collision shape. And when we zoom in here, you can see the collision is been, again, defined by just going to the mesh and going create collision shape. So we've got a really tight, essentially perfect collision on this dirt floor. So hopping back to forest level, let me go ahead and hit save. So now you can see we've got collision on this floor, but we don't have any navigation. So if you see this guy here, this is my world navigation. So let me show you something. When I go ahead and click play, this enemy dragon here is going to find the friendly dragon, and they're going to start attacking each other. That's what they're currently programmed to do, is just find the closest enemy and then start using their bite attack. But something interesting happens when I move them outside of the registered navigation. So if I move this guy over here and save that and click play, or sorry, that's not going to illustrate the use case very well. Let me bring this guy all the way here to the edge of the available navigation area, and I'll move this guy out here just a little bit. Now let me go ahead and click play again. So you can see this guy doesn't know how to navigate any further outside of this navigation mesh. Let me show you that again here. I'll move this guy a little bit farther out for illustration purposes. Let's make sure we get a good timing on it. So when I come here, you can see he doesn't actually know how to path himself outside of this navigation mesh. So that's not given a good example either. I got to make sure that this here isn't the closest available point. I got to make sure that the closest available point is right here to illustrate the purpose that I'm trying to show you. And so you can see here, this guy doesn't know how to navigate any closer outside of this navigation mesh to the guy that's outside the navigation mesh. So since I added a new pathway here, I'm going to need to add it to the navigation mesh. So if I come here and go to my world nav, I can clear the navigation mesh, and all I have to do is hit bake navigation mesh, and now I've added navigation here to this whole play field here. So now when I go ahead and move my character in here, it's going to work seamlessly. They'll probably end up finding each other somewhere around here. Let's see what happens. And sure enough, they can now navigate to each other a little bit more seamlessly. Okay, so now the interesting part here comes in is, let's say we have an obstacle. So you can see here, I've got this signpost here, and it's right on the pathway. So let's investigate what this scene is. Again, it's just a mesh with a static body 3D with a collision shape. So let's go ahead and add a object here in the middle of this pathway that's going to block the path of this dragon spark. So we can see here we've got the navigation mesh available. It seems like we actually are generating a pretty large triangle here, so maybe that's why the character was kind of a little bit messing up there. But in world, and again, this world node is still a child of the world nav. Let's go ahead and instantiate a child scene. Let's instantiate a log stack scene, and add it here in the middle of the pathway. And I'll make this a little bit bigger. Okay, very good. And maybe give it a little bit of a rotation just to add a little bit of flavor to it. And I'll put that right about here, let's say. Okay, so now if I go ahead and click play again, we can see that our character is going to get stuck on the log. So how do we tell our characters to actually navigate around this log? And so in my bake settings here, I have parsed geometry is static colliders. So here, let me move my face again to make sure you can see that. I'm in my navigation 3D, region 3D, I have static colliders set. So that means that the parsed geometry is the geometry that my navigation mesh is going to cut out of the navigation. So let me clear the navigation again. Let's see, now we got no navigation. So when I go ahead and click play, our characters are essentially doing nothing. They don't know how to do anything without the navigation. Let me go rebake the navigation mesh, and now we can see the navigation region has cut out this log block. So fantastic. So now when we go ahead and click play, we'll see that our... Oh, it looks like it just didn't take effect. Let me hit save and go replay. Here, now we can see our characters are able to successfully route around this log. And here I could probably clean that up a little bit here, that floating region. But for the purpose of this illustration here, we can see now that they're able to navigate around this collision. And whereas before, you know, they just try to run into it. And that's all because I have the parsed geometry here set to static colliders. Now that being said, if you are looking to do your own little monster guys like these, you know, whatever model you end up using, and again, maybe your character here, hopping back over to Kenny, if you come to assets and come to 3D and come to, where's the character that I was really enjoying using prototyping for? Yeah, if you come to mini characters here, you know, go ahead and grab one of these characters. Each one of these characters also has attacking animations, for example. I think, let me character body. He's got a whole bunch of animations as well. Like, you know, he's got a sit pose. He's got a walking animation. He's got a jumping animation. He's got a melee left and a melee right. He's got kicking, kick left, kick right. You know, a whole bunch of stuff. He's got a sprint animation, and so. You know, you would basically want to replace what I'm doing here with the little dragon characters and these other characters in your level scene with maybe one of those guys. And you can have your little blocky characters navigate in a similar fashion. So if you guys want a more detailed deep dive into this navigation mesh, hit me up in the comments below. But that being said, really we are just working on environment building for now, and I just wanted to give you guys that resource for easy 3D copyright-free asset and prototyping. So I'm going to keep on building out this forest level, and I'll be excited to show you guys the finished product when it is available. But that being said, yeah, happy building, happy world building, and don't forget, shout out kenney.nl. All of those assets there are freely available and copyright-free, so that you can go ahead and hop in and make your own games. That's all. Thanks for watching.